Hello, hello. Welcome on to Branded. This is the podcast that is taking you behind the scenes and beyond the brand to give you the clarity, connection, and confidence to build a business that you love. And today we are chatting with Shaitali B. Desai. I am so freaking pumped to be chatting with you today because it's seriously a full circle moment. Shaitali was one of my very first business coaches, and I'm just so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here, and it is amazing to just be here in your space and just how much you have grown. It's been a joy to watch. So bravo to you.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, you know what? Honestly, all of your metaphors about the ice cream aisle and all the things absolutely. And if you guys have been in the same coaching programs as me, you know what I'm talking about, the ice cream aisle. It's so good. But, it's things like that I needed to hear when I was first starting out. And so I'm just so grateful to have met you and been mentored by you. And so can you just let everybody know who you are, what you're doing, and just all the things?
Yeah, thank you. So again, I'm Jaitali Desai. I'm a business and success mentor, and my mission in life is to really equip female entrepreneurs in owning their voice, stepping to their power to create the impact that they truly desire. It's one thing to say you want it, it's another thing to actually believe it internally, create it externally. So I use the lens of human design, hypnosis, and other energetic alignment tools to help align the person, so the CEO of the business, and help them step out in their greatest version. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And the more I've
Okay.
actually started learning about human design, which hypnosis we're for sure going to talk about today because I am like deer in headlights. I don't know what you're talking about whenever we, talk about hypnosis. So we're going to dive into that. But human design, I am a little more familiar with, and I know that the audience is slightly familiar because I have done an interview with another entrepreneur, Patricia, who was talking about human design with us. But for you, what is it about human design? How is it that you're utilizing it in your mentorship and your coaching to, help propel these CEOs?
Yeah, so for sure, it's a funny story. When I stumbled upon it, I didn't even know I was looking for it. And I didn't realize that it was the missing key to unlocking my actual full potential. And so when I think of human design, it's almost as if you get this permission slip to actually be the person you can feel inside. Um, that's the best way I can put it. And it's a really cool, just like a quick synopsis of human design. It's taking like the Kabbalah, the I Ching, the chakra system, and astrology, putting it together based on your birth date, birth time, and it gives you a blueprint. And what's so cool about it is you get something tangible. You get to look at your body graph and be like, oh, no wonder I'm feeling like this. I have a defined G center, or no wonder I keep getting all these ideas. I have this open head that hears everybody, that hears this. I think it's so important to understand that you have been conditioned to be a certain way. That has nothing to do with who you really are. So we have to break through all of those limiting beliefs and quote unquote ideas that were implanted and really give you a rewired system. And that's like the magic of where I come in and really help you to, again, align and step into your power.
I completely whenever you said you finally, it's as if you get permission to start actually being the person you feel like you are inside. That is so freaking
Yeah.
powerful. And I really resonate with that because I think a lot of people, they know they feel that way, right? Like you don't have to have words to be
Mm.
able to describe or to be able to confidently say, yes, I have felt that way before, that I am definitely not necessarily acting in reflecting who I actually feel like I am inside. Like it definitely is something that I think a lot of people go through, but don't necessarily know how to verbalize and definitely don't know how to address. And so I think that's why it's so vital to
Wow.
be on the online space and be available for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I know for a lot of people, it's like, is it really going to work? The answer is yes. And two, it's really about coming in with this open mind because I know online you can take all kinds of tests from like the Enneagram to Clifton Strength Finders and any kind of personality test. With human design, it takes out your emotion. It doesn't care that today you feel super. When you come to human design, it's just who you are, truly who you are. And I think that's brilliant. It takes your opinion out of it and it says, hey, by the way, blah, 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 whatever your profile, your design comes out to be. And now you have like a foundation. And that's why I use it as a mentorship tool and why I look at it through those lens, because it shows me exactly where we are, what the potential is, and then mentally we start mapping it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so
And I
good.
know what story that you've been telling yourself, so I can bring you back into alignment.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? And it's so crazy too how like it really it all comes down to awareness because so many people will have the feeling of like, oh yeah, I am not really operating the way that I really want to, there I want XYZ in life, but I don't know how but everybody has that feeling. And so yeah, having the mentorship and the coaching and the guidance to be able to point you in the right direction and be like, I understand the story you've been telling yourself. Now let's write a new one and let's do it from a place of like neutrality and not having the good and the bad and all of
Yeah.
the judgment and the guilt and all of that. So yeah, it's so cool. Um, so let's dive into
Yeah.
hypnosis a little bit because I definitely think that this is a topic that is kind of foreign to a lot of people. I know for me it is, and I've had conversations with some people about it recently, and they've had some pretty transformative experiences. My only experience with hypnosis is
Yeah.
like when I was a child, I was at a therapy session with my parents. They were in like marriage counseling, and she wasn't like your average therapist. She did hypnosis and she tried it, I guess, on me. And I was like, this isn't working. And so, like, I've never really had an experience with it. So, yeah, I want to hear all about this.
Yeah, of course. Hypnosis is amazing. And what it comes down to, it is a science of brainwave activity, basically. So you've actually experienced hypnosis every night before you fell asleep. You've actually experienced hypnosis anytime you've gotten in the car, decided to go to your favorite grocery store, and all of a sudden you were there without remembering the drive. It's called hypnotic driving. Not safe, I know, but it happens to everybody. Your subconscious mind takes over and it's like, okay, I know where I'm going. And that's when you start to, you probably think you're kind of zoned out or spaced out, but you're in a hypnotic um, stance in that moment. So what happens is we, generally speaking, as humans, we operate in four different brave brain wave lengths. No, yeah, it is alpha, which is when you're in a meditative state, focused state. Beta, right now, actively learning. Theta is hypnotic or hypnosis. And delta is when you go to sleep. And to
Mm,
get to delta, you must go through theta. So if you don't take anything away from what I just said, it's science. And you experience it every day unconsciously.
yeah.
And that's the kicker because you're going through it and you're just taking in all this information again, putting it in your mind, and then you wonder why you act a certain way. You react a certain way. You're not aware of it. So it gets to come to the forefront.
Yeah. That was such a fantastic explanation. Like, I feel like I actually have a grasp on the next time someone's like, "Oh, I did a hypnosis session." I'm like, "Oh, so it was like between active and sleep, but you were doing it intentionally." Like, now I feel like I have a better grasp on it, and that's a really cool thing to to know. Like we actually experience it every single night. And that does kind of make sense too, as
Every
I guess
single
some of
day.
like the mindset people, you hear people talk about like right before sleep, don't be going through your like what you have to do tomorrow and all those kinds of things, because it creates that sort of anxiety, I guess, within your state of hypnosis, rather than maybe doing like periods of gratitude or something during that moment. Because yeah. So how do you, when you're
Yeah,
actually
that's
like
actually a
coaching
great
people
point.
through it, is that what you do?
Um, yes and no. So what I really do is I'll take you through a whole session. And from start to finish, we will address whatever the issue is. So, for example, I've been working with someone who's really wanting to let go of just the negative emotions and attachments that she's been holding on to for so long. So, every time we come into a session, we set the intention and I just start speaking with your subconscious mind. And what it feels like, and another way to think of hypnosis is a deeply relaxed yet focused state. So you're super relaxed, and 20 minutes of hypnosis is almost the equivalent of 5 to 6 hours of sleep. So that's how relaxed you get to be during that session. And your subconscious mind is awake, it comes to the forefront, and it's hearing everything I'm saying. And
Mm,
if that sounds a bit too sciencey, let's break it down one more level. If you have a habit that you have created, you do it every day unconsciously because you've done it so many times that now you believe it's the only way to do something. That's hypnotic.
yeah.
And you did it to
Yeah.
yourself. So it comes down again to awareness. And what are you actually doing? You know that you've heard me say it so many times. Like, what is the point? Is it helping you or is it hindering you? Your
Yeah.
call, right? You're the CEO of your life. What are you doing? Whether you're in business or whether you are a corporate or at 9 to 5, that doesn't matter. It's you and your life. Bring awareness to it and ask yourself these questions, as uncomfortable as they are.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing that I really think can be so powerful. Ask the questions, as uncomfortable as they might be. That's the thing that creates massive growth and really fast change too. Like I've actually come to discover that most of the time, like if I'm looking to make an adjustment in my life or in my business, it really comes down to me just choosing to do the hard thing, to do it, and then the change inevitably starts happening. The momentum picks up and it's just in creation mode at that point because I've decided to get out of my own damn way. Um, and yeah, whenever
Yeah,
you mentioned like
100%. And that's
hypnosis,
actually step one.
yeah. So when you talk about like so what are the steps? How many steps are there to the hypnosis?
To hypnosis, like self hypnosis, or like
Well, you
when
said
I
it was
take
step
my
one.
clients
So
through a
like what's
session,
the
it's just one fluid session.
mm,
Oh, what I meant from step one is like the awareness that, okay, you have created this habit. Now, if you're wanting to change it, you could step like in. Let me step back. If you're wanting to do it for yourself, you could affirmations. You could do a new way of being. Meaning, if every morning you woke up and you went straight for the coffee and you got on your phone, you're putting yourself in this reactive state. So then the question is, how can I be
mm,
proactive? Okay, I can go get my coffee and I could go journal. I can go get my coffee and I can sit and pray, right? Change what you're doing.
yeah.
And by doing that, you're creating new neural pathways. This takes a bit longer because now you have to go through your conscious mind, finally, eventually getting to your subconscious mind. In hypnosis, we bypass the thinking, the logical mind, and we get right to the meat of it. So it's faster.
Yeah.
And with affirmations, I'm going to highly suggest present tense. And I don't want to say be realistic, but don't be so extravagant. And a great example is money. We all want to be multimillionaires, but if you know deep down your bank account is running maybe $100 and you're writing down, I am a multimillionaire, your subconscious mind is not going to believe it because all of us as humans, we have a gatekeeper in between. And it's that gatekeeper that's going to call BS on that. And it's not going to work. That's actually why affirmations don't work for so many people. So if you know that you have $100 in the bank account, then start by saying, I have the potential to be a multimillionaire. It's
Mm.
two different energies. Your mind and your gatekeeper can get on track with that and be like, oh, yeah, I do have the potential. Okay, cool. What are we going to do? Then you open up the realm of possibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really important point is opening up the realm of possibility. Like when you have awareness around the fact that something is even remotely possible for you, even if it feels super far fetched, like you said, having $100 in your bank account and then saying an affirmation like, I have the potential of being a multimillionaire. It is such a huge energy because yeah, you have the potential to say, yeah, I absolutely could do that. I should be doing that. Now, how am I going to do that? Like it creates a whole different energy and it creates the that sort of inquisitive mind rather than a judgmental mind. At least for me, that's how I feel
Yeah.
about it. And so anytime I'm having, these sort of leaps in my business or in my personal life and, I'm doing visualizations or affirmations or anything like that, I think about those things. I'm like, how can I reframe this to be a statement that is true for me now while also envisioning the thing in the future, right? Because I think I was definitely quote unquote doing affirmations wrong in the beginning, as so many people do, right?
Yeah, no, I
Um,
was guilty of it too until I knew better. So that's why I think it's an important conversation to share or a
yeah,
topic, idea, whatever, to share because it does more harm than good if you don't realize this. This one tweak is so powerful. And what also ends up happening, as you were saying, because the curiosity gets opened up, ideas have the option to come in now. There's a pathway in that space that you've just created. Um,
yeah,
I know for some people that's a little bit too woo, but the reality of the matter is everything is energy. So space is also energy. You need to create something for something to come in. So it's something you get to play with,
yeah.
get
So there was
curious and have
actually
fun with it.
exactly. And there's so many aspects of my life and my business now that I remind myself if I'm feeling really high anxiety or stress or, just pressure in general around something, I will stop myself and remind myself this is supposed to be fun. This should be fun. How can we make this fun? How can we remove the stress that's happening right now? And sometimes it means you go for a walk, you go do a workout, you go eat a piece of chocolate, like whatever it is, for you that can bring you that little bit of joy and just like tweak your energy just a little bit. Cause yeah, reminding myself that it should be fun. It shouldn't feel hard. And if it is feeling strenuous and sticky and stressful, then you're probably not doing it right.
Yeah, well, kind of. It's more that you're in your head, literally, versus being in your body. So
Yeah.
that disconnection is a really big it's commonplace. People think that it's normal, but what the normal state is to be fully connected and to push that energy that's swirling in your head down into your body. So actually going for a walk, doing something physical pulls it down.
Mm, yeah.
Meditating, you said visualization, which is actually a form of hypnosis. It will pull that energy down for you. So that does make a tremendous amount of difference. And fun, it bypasses the brain, that same brain that's overthinking. We always associate fun with kids, but if you're going to do that, then think about how much they learn. They're like sponges for a reason, and it's because everything is like, oh, this is fun, let me go try it. So if you're ever stuck, as you're saying, spinning and it's feeling heavy and just, ugh, be like a kid. How are you going to flip it upside down and make it fun? It's
Yeah.
that's like $1 million right there. How are
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is. Um, so as we continue, like I'm loving this conversation. Honestly, I could talk to you about this kind of stuff all day long. And I love that this episode is airing right after the episode that we had last week, which I was talking with Tyler Watson, and we were talking a lot about like being in the head versus being in the body. And so this is a really, really awesome like pair to that conversation because we're very much still talking about the same thing. And it's so cool to see how many different modalities there are for people to plug into. So you can really determine like, what's the thing for me that I feel the most connected to? What's the practice that is something that I feel the most connected to that I'll do on, a regular basis to get the growth that I want. So yeah, it's super cool that this episode's being aired right then. So I wanted to move the conversation into what it means to be a CEO. Because I think a lot of people, they think, well, I'm the CEO of my business. And it's like, well, but what does that really mean? And especially for you, I know you created a really fantastic resource that we're going to share with everybody. And this will help kind of explain it a little bit. But yeah, describe to us like what does it mean for you to be a CEO?
I think, in this day and time, when we think of CEOs, we think externally, the person running Apple, the person running Campbell's, the person running some business. But if you pull it back, and you know how I am about super practical, you're a human being who's in charge of your life. You are responsible for what you're doing every day. Well, I'm assuming you're responsible for your life. You are the CEO. It is that simple. You are your chief executive officer. Am I going to get up at 5 o'clock? Am I going to get up and brush my teeth? What, like, you are constantly making decisions. And I think it is so important that we embrace that, bring it down to like, okay, if my life is my business, which it is, how am I going to show up for it? Are you, because I think we often get, what is the saying? The the days are long, but the years are short. And
Yeah.
when we really let that sink, what are you doing with your life? If you are always reactive, then you're always going to feel like, man, life just did me wrong. But again, it's a habit to be reactive. And I know this is like tough love, but I think it's so needed in the world right now. You get to decide, how are you going to operate? So
Yeah.
when I think of a CEO, it's my life. How am I going to show up for it? And that's actually why I created the CEO Business and Lifestyle Planner. I want to connect it as a bridge. It's not this and that. Sorry, it's not this or that. It is this and that. You get to have your business, your corporate life, while having a lifestyle that is fun. And not and it's fun doesn't mean that you're going partying every night. Fun could be like, oh my God, you accomplished something, you made a difference in someone else's world, you like helped your kids learn their ABCs, like whatever it is, you're the CEO. You get to decide, what does success look like for me? And I really want to drive this home for people that show up. This isn't a dress rehearsal.
Yeah. Yeah, you think you're gonna get another go at this? Think again, like, you might as well make the most of it. Yeah, I the whole concept of being the CEO of your life, honestly, that's very new to me over, like, probably in the last 2, 3 years. It's a concept that I've come to, really recognize and resonate with so much more, because I definitely was not of the mindset. Like, I was not being the CEO of my life. I was waking up every day, going to work, like just going through the motions, literally going through the motions, and hardly making any actual choices
Yeah.
every single day. Like, when you really think about it, what actual choices do you give yourself the opportunity to make when you're just living Groundhog's Day every day over and over? And I feel like that's where, whenever
Yeah.
I talk about sometimes how like my life has just quantum leaped, like what I will do in 3 days time, 3 years ago probably would have taken me 3 months. But it's like the fact that I have now stepped into that role of like, I am the CEO of my life. And when I decide to do something and make the choice, it is done. Like, there is no him hawing, like sitting around, oh, should I do it? Should I? Like, you just do it because you decide this is what I want for my life. So I'm just going to do it. And it's just crazy how quickly the things that you want show up in your life when you act that way.
That's it. And more than an act, it's the belief.
Yeah.
It's at that level. And when you decide, that's entry, that's like the first entry into that belief changing. Then entry number two, how are you acting? So when the decision comes, like, okay, am I going to sleep in or am I going to get up and get this done? That's entry number two. What did you decide then? Okay, I got up. Man, I was tired. I needed that extra cup of coffee or whatever you drink. And then I stepped into the next thing. So that is how you build that new belief system. That is how you start to become more and more confident in your abilities, in your capabilities. And that's part of why in the planner, like when I hope your listeners download it, I hope you download it because I find it really sexy. I've never thought in my world I would ever call a planner sexy, but this one, it has two it has two hypnosis session or audio tracks that are downloadable. The first one is unapologetically confident because I want you to realize that you are a badass. Be the damn CEO you know you can be. Then, as every good CEO knows, man, we need to sleep. And I created the deep sleep hypnosis so you get restorative sleep. We get into the right brainwave activity. We are in that session, calming all the thoughts down and really giving your body that ability to relax, which when you sleep, you're repairing your entire self. So why would you not want to do that? And let's create a vision for your life for the year. What do you want to do? It doesn't necessarily have to just be business oriented. Obviously, I'm a business mentor, so that's a high priority for me. But from a lifestyle standpoint, what do you want it to be like? What dreams do you have? You get to take all of that out of your brain, put it onto paper or your digital journal, and then break it down. What does that look like per month? And what does that look like per week? It breaks it down into bite sized pieces. And that's how you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. This is the actual practical tool to help you do that.
I love that. It's so needed. And you know what I was thinking whenever you were kind of riffing on the CEO making decision versus action and, choice and belief and all of that, I was thinking to myself when you were saying that, for me, being the CEO of my life has the shift for me was like, instead of being essentially an employee of my day to day, I became the boss of my day to day. And I think that's a little bit of a shift that most people, they don't recognize that waking up, with their alarm clock every day, keeping a promise, saying they want to do something and keeping that promise to themselves. Like, would they ever tell their boss, yeah, I'm totally going to get that task done, and then just not do it? No, they would never do that, because then they'd probably get in trouble or get fired, if they did it over and over and over again. Because then the boss would be like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? You're not keeping your promises. You're not living up to your end of the bargain. Yet we don't do that for ourselves in our own personal lives. And I think for me, that's been the biggest shift is I say I'm going to do something. I keep my promise to myself. Sure, it may not happen that day. Like, it depends from being a little bit of an overachiever and like, think my list is a little too long. But that's sort of the visual of being the CEO of my life. I stopped being an employee who wasn't showing up for work. I started showing the fuck up,
That's
making my
it.
decisions, and believing that I could be the one to make it happen. Anyways, that's what I was like thinking while you were explaining
Yeah,
all of
no, it's
it.
a
So I was
hundred
like loving it.
percent. That's exactly it. Because again, you're every day you're getting up, and it sounds a bit morbid, but this is something that really shifted so much for me. And it was a question of, am I living or am I just not dying?
Ugh, yes.
If every day you're getting up, yeah, and you're just kind of going through, I mean, why? What is your point? You
Yeah.
get to step into it and be like, okay, I don't want to be up at 5 in the morning. Listen, I hate waking up at 5 in the morning. It's dark, it's like cold, but I get up and I get into my day. And then I'm like, oh, thank goodness I woke up because I have all these ideas, or oh my goodness, I have this extra time to really enjoy my first or my cup of coffee or whatever again you drink. There's joy in these micro moments that we bypass completely. And something you said earlier, if you say you're going to do something and you do it, your subconscious mind gets on board faster because it's like, oh my goodness, wait a minute. It's 5:05 and we're out of bed already getting things done. Oh, she was serious. Okay. And now it's really paying attention to what's happening. It's
Yeah.
these micro moments. And the more you have them, the more habitual they become and the more CEO you are.
Yeah.
I think it's like an action verb, CEO, the way I'm looking at it.
Hmm. Yeah, and I totally agree whenever you say micro moments, that is absolutely because what's crazy about those micro moments is they become the full moment, right? They start as like a micro moment, as
Yeah,
something where you're like, oh, okay, I have this one-off action that's helping build my belief, that's, helping me get into a better routine and all the things. But then before you know it, that micro moment has turned on to a full-blown like identity that you take
yeah,
on. It's wild.
yeah, yeah. That's
Oh,
it right there. Because when you believe that this is who you are, you act accordingly,
yeah.
right? I mean, I, yeah, you said it.
Yeah. Well, and for me too, I think it's what's so cool about this kind of work that you do is you bring awareness, right? You bring all of this to the forefront. So the potentiality of somebody being like, okay, I see this as a possibility for my life now. And then it's on them because this is right. This is a two-way street. You're going to get people results because you're going to help them get there faster, but people have to do the work. And so that's something that I'm always talking about, even in my line of work with branding. It's like, sure, you can give me, prompts to do my job, but inevitably you have to be the one to go and take the action, even if it's messy, even if it's kind of ugly, and if it's not really the right thing yet, but you have to take the action because that's what those micro moments are that actually turn into the full blown thing that you're trying to do. And so, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
needed. And I love that this is like the type of work that you do. It's just, I mean, I could freaking talk about it all day. So as we wrap up today, for sure, you guys get into the show notes and download the CEO Business and Lifestyle Planner. This is a free resource for you. And it's really robust. So what can they find inside of the planner again? What's all involved in it?
Sure. So you'll get two downloadable hypnosis tracks. You'll get a success planner to help mind map the year. Then it breaks down into a monthly planner. Okay, what do you want to accomplish each month? Whether it's it doesn't matter, business goal, lifestyle goal, break it down. Then break it down one more per week because you'll get overwhelmed looking at the big picture. Have the big vision and then bring it down to, okay, what am I going to do about it this week? Awesome. I got 3 things done. Next, keep building that way. Additionally, because we are CEOs of our life, there's a finance tracker. There's also a vision board to keep things in the front of your mind. You can get fun with that. You put on photos. If you're more like verbal, put your affirmations in there. And there's a few other goodies, but I'm going to have you download it and then get into it because you are the CEO and this is how you get to develop the habits. I want to see people
Yeah.
win, whether they're working with me or not. Here's a great tool to get after it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Itali, for being here. Like, this is really such an honor to be able to talk to you. And I'm just so happy to have met you and been able to be mentored by you. And where exactly are you hanging out the most? So that way everybody can find you, and I'll make sure that, we can access you.
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
All over.
Facebook, Instagram, you name it. So wherever you like to hang out, come and find me. It's Jaitali B Desai everywhere. Um, I put out loads of content, loads of bite-sized, actionable things that you can implement into your lifestyle, into your business. So I'm looking forward to connecting.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. And we will chat with you very, very soon. Bye.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Branded, the podcast. Please rate and review. And for more information, visit socialjanemedia.com. I'll see you soon.